Alright, so this one is called The Resurrection of Darkness. Actually, I should switch to myself in big mode. Alright, you ready? Is everyone ready for this? The Resurrection of Darkness. The moon hung. Oh boy, yeah, who boy indeed, Dante. The moon hung low in the sky, a sickly pale orb casting jagged shadows across the overgrown grounds of Camp Crystal Lake. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, each breath a reminder of the horrors that had transpired here. Jason Voorhees stalked through the woods, his hulking figure nearly blending into the darkened landscape. The silence was deafening, save for the occasional rustle of the branches and the distant croak of frogs. The night. Okay, alright, cool. He approached the old, dilapidated cabin with where the final confrontation had taken place, where he had slain Freddy Krueger. Jason's heart thundered in his chest, a sound more felt than heard. A long finger of regret curled around him, tightening with every step. He paused at the door, his gloved hand. Wait, what? A long finger of regret curled around him, tightening with every step. He paused at the door, his gloved hand hovering over the rusty doorknob. The memory of the final moment they shared, a flash of claws, a glimmer of steel, played in his mind. With a deep breath, he pushed the door open. It creaked ominously, echoing through the empty space. Inside, the air was stale, thick with dust and shadows. Moonlight spilled through the cracked windows, illuminating the remnants of the past. A broken chair, a torn poster of a forgotten movie, and the faint outline of a bloodstain on the floor. Jason brushed his hand over the rough surface of the table, his finger tracing the grooves as he recalled how he had ended Freddy's torment. But now he wanted to bring him back. He needed to apologize, to make amends in the only way he knew how. His fingers moved swiftly, the motion fluid and purposeful as he formed the shapes of his thoughts into signs. I'm sorry. I need you back. His breath caught as the room shifted. The shadows thickened, coalescing into a figure that rose from the ground, limbs unfurling like the petals of a dark flower. Are they kissing? Not yet. Jason said he needs to bring Freddy back to make amends, so you came just in time. Freddy Krueger appeared, his fedora casting a shadow over his scarred face, a twisted grin splitting his lips. Jason, you old slab of meat, Freddy chuckled, the sound of a grotesque symphony of malice. What's the matter? Miss me? Jason's eyes narrowed, his fingers moving once more. I need your help. Freddy raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Help? From me? You must be losing your mind. Or maybe you just want to relive our little dance from last time. His laughter echoed, a chilling sound that seemed to seep into the very walls. Jason shook his head, desperation creeping into his movements. No, I want to make things right. I'm sorry for killing you. Let's start over. Pizza? Movie? Freddy's amusement waned, replaced by a flicker of curiosity. Pizza! You must really be desperate to bargain with a dead man. He stepped closer, inspecting Jason, his eyes narrowing in thought. But how can I trust you? Jason took a step back, his stance defensive but earnest. Oh, prove it. He gestured toward the door, inviting Freddy to follow him into the night. As they stepped outside, the cool air wrapped around them like an embrace. The moonlight painted their figures in stark contrast, one a hulking mask of muscle and silence, the other a sneering specter of nightmares. All right, let's see what you've got, Freddy says, his grin widening. Lead the way, big guy. They they walked through the woods, the crunch of leaves and twigs underfoot filling the silence. Jason felt the weight of the moment, the gravity of what he was attempting. He wanted forgiveness, but he also craved the companionship that had been ripped from him. Freddy broke the silence first, amusement dancing in his voice. So, what's your favorite topping? I hope it's not little kids. Holy shit! uh, that was out of nowhere. Also, for frame of reference, wasn't one of the iterations of Freddy that he was like a child criminal? Like, wasn't that something that he did? Sorry. So, I hope it's not little kids. He snickered, leaning closer as if to gauge Jason's reaction. Jason shot him a glare, his expression hard. No, just pizza. Right, just pizza, Freddy replied, rolling his eyes. You gotta lighten up, Jason. We're supposed to be having fun. You know, like old times. The two made their way to the nearby town, the glow of neon lights beckoning them like moths to a flame. Oh shit, they ended up in Camarocho. The glow of neon lights beckoning them like moths to a flame. They entered a small pizzeria, the scent of baking dough and melted cheese wafting through the air. Can you imagine if you were the pizza that like you were the guy who was making the pizza? Fucking Freddy and Jason walked in and be like, "One pizza, please." They entered a small pizzeria, the scent of baking dough and melted cheese wafting through the air. The employees behind the counter paused, eyes wide, but it didn't take them to alert their gazes back to their work. 2 slices of your finest pizza, Freddy declared, his voice booming with theatrical flair. And make it snappy. Jason stepped forward, his presence commanding. He pulled out a wad of cash from his pocket, slamming it onto the counter. The cashier, visibly shaking, nodded quickly and turned to prepare their order. See, you're getting the hang of this, Freddy said, leaning back against the counter with a smirk. Maybe you'll even learn to laugh someday. I don't laugh, Jason signed back, his expression flat. Of course you don't, but what if I told you I could change that? Freddy leaned closer, his eyes gleaming with mischief. What if I could show you how to have a little fun? We could be a team again, Jason, the ultimate horror duo. Actually, real quick, let me make sure I pause ads. I cannot snooze ads right now. Okay. I don't know why I can't snooze ads right now, but that's okay. Sorry. Hey, Sergey. You're in for a weird time. We could be a team again, Jason, the ultimate horror duo. What do you want? Jason asked, suspicion lacing his movements. Freddy shrugged, feigning insolence. Just a little partnership. You do the heavy lifting, and I'll do the nightmare-inducing. And who knows, maybe we can have some fun along the way. The cashier returned with their pizza, and the two took a seat at a corner table, the tension between them palpable. Freddy grabbed a slice, cheese stretching as he pulled it away from the plate. You know, I've always wondered what it would be like to share a meal with a legend. How does it feel to be the king of the slashers? Jason remained silent, his attention focused on the pizza. He took a big bite, letting the flavor wash over him, momentarily distracted from the darkness that loomed around them. Not much of a talker, huh? Freddy continued, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You really should try to open up. It might even help you with those anger issues of yours. I'm fine. Jason signed, his brow furrowing. Freddy laughed, a low, sinister sound. I don't know if now Jason is actually signing in sign language, which is a completely different thing that I wouldn't have anticipated, because it does say Jason signed at a couple of things in here. So I wonder if like he is now sign languaging things. Freddy laughed, a low, sinister sound. Fine? You're sitting here with a guy who's been dead for years, and you think you're fine? You're the one who brought me back. Maybe you're the one who needs to face some demons. The night wore on, and as they finished their meal, the conversation shifted. Freddy leaned back, his demeanor changing to something more serious. You know, there's a reason I'm back. I didn't just come back for pizza and a chat. I want revenge. Jason's eyes darkened. Against who? Those fools who thought they could banish me. They think they've won, but we can show them. Freddy grin returned, sharp and menacing. Together we can remind them why they should fear the dark. The weight of the proposition hung in the air. Jason felt the familiar rush of adrenaline and the thrill of the hunt, but he hesitated. I don't want to kill anymore. Oh, come on, don't be such a buzzkill. We could have so much fun. Freddy's voice rose, a manic edge creeping in. Imagine the chaos we could unleash. It'll be just like old times. Jason's expression hardened. I'm not the same. I don't want that life. Freddy leaned forward, his tone shifting to something more persuasive. But you're lonely, aren't you? I can see it in your eyes. You need someone to share your darkness with, someone who understands you. The vulnerability in Jason's heart throbbed like an open wound. He looked away, the inner conflict raging. Let's just watch a movie, okay? Freddy suggested, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I know a great horror flick we can watch. Just me and you sharing a little slice of hell. Jason nodded slowly, his heart heavy with uncertainty. As they left the pizzeria, the atmosphere shifted. The night sky loomed overhead, stars blinking like distant eyes. They wandered back to the cabin where the remnants of their past lay waiting. All right, let's set the mood, Freddy said, pulling out an old projector he had somehow procured. This is going to be a classic. They settled into the cabin, the flickering light casting eerie shapes on the walls. The sound of the movie filled the space, a cacophony of screams and shadows weaving through the air. Freddy leaned closer, his breath hot against Jason's ear. Now tell me, big guy, what do you really want? Freddy leaned close. The question hung in the air, a challenge wrapped in temptation. Jason felt the darkness pull at him, the allure of chaos whispering sweet nothings in his mind. I want to feel again. He signed, his fingers trembling as he made the confession. Okay, yeah, so I guess he is using sign language now. Freddy's grin widened, a twisted promise in his gaze. Then let's make it happen. The night wore on, and the movie faded into the background. The boundaries between them began to blur. A moment of silence passed, heavy with anticipation, until they finally succumbed to the darkness that bound them. In that cabin, they were no longer just a killer and a nightmare. They were something more. A union of shadows, a twisted partnership born from regret and revenge. As the credits rolled, the world outside faded away, leaving only the two of them entwined in their dark dance. The echoes of laughter and screams intertwined in the night. Well, that was a perfect time for an ad then.